When clients are prepared for their first couple session, they will see results so much quicker. But not everyone knows how to prepare and get the most out of every session. So if you're about to start couples therapy, but you don't know what to do to prepare, and you want to make that therapy a success, I'm going to tell you exactly step by step what you can do to prepare. So the first thing you need to do is to have the right attitude before you enter therapy. So by the right attitude in therapy, I mean you really need to actually accept responsibility and accountability for your part in the relationship issues. Sometimes couples come in and one of them may be really open to my feedback, willing to accept responsibility for their part in a cycle of argument and conflict. And other times I see some partners come in and they're just ready to point the finger at their partner and say, if we really want to improve this relationship, you need to change her or you need to change him. So in a way, they're telling me that they're not accepting responsibility. The thing is, when you're dealing with relationship issues, there's always two people at fault. There are always two people responsible, because if you attack your partner or if you're critical, of course, your partner is not going to respond to you in a positive manner. So your reaction to your partner is always affecting a cycle of argument and affecting how your partner responds to you. I want you to come to therapy with an open mind, saying to yourself, okay, there is definitely something that I'm missing here. My partner is not doing something right here. I'm also not doing something right here that's contributing to this cycle of tension between us. Coming with that attitude is gonna help you make progress much faster. Otherwise, the therapist is gonna spend like 2 or 3 sessions just to convince you that you bear some responsibility and you just need to accept it if you want this relationship to be fixed or healed. The other thing that's gonna help really save your time, energy, and make you kind of progress really fast through therapy is if you show up to the session with some sense of the type of arguments that you're having. So have like a blueprint. Actively think about what are types of the arguments that we keep having. Are we arguing about trust? Like whenever my partner goes out, maybe I start questioning or I start to get very active or controlling. What's our cycle of conflict and how do I behave when I'm in that cycle? And how does my partner respond to me? So kind of getting a sense of these repetitive cycles, because most of the time there's only 1 or 2 fights that you keep having with your partner. Either you want more closeness, you lack trust, but just having some sense of the content of these fights so that when you sit in the first session, when the therapist asks you, so tell me about your fights, you come prepared. Like you're not gonna spend a lot of time wondering which fight should I mention. You're coming with that awareness. Okay, so for the past 6 months, these are the fights that we've been having. Have a sense of the intensity of the fights so you can actually walk the therapist through how intense these fights get. Do you go through silent treatments? Do you emotionally withdraw? Do you separate your bedrooms? Do you not talk to each other in the aftermath of these fights? This is all good information for the therapist in the first session. Also, when you go to the therapy, have an idea of your biggest concern in your relationship, and then have one particular fight that you can use as an example to exemplify all these issues that you've been having. This way, the session is going to be much more effective. The other thing you want to kind of pay attention to is to have some understanding of the ways you've been feeling in your relationship. If you come to an emotion-focused therapy like me, emotions are one of the main things that I pay attention to. So if you come into the sessions just really knowing yourself in the way you've been feeling, whether it's feeling insecure, feeling criticized or blamed, all these nuanced emotions, these are things that I always pay attention to. And usually if you are a kind of person who has a lot of emotional awareness or is high on EQ, that's really going to help a therapist like me, because we can work together to really discern what's going on in your relationship and what are some of the emotional needs that are not being met for you. So for example, if you're feeling alone and you mention that to the therapist, who is an EFT therapist. They're just going to explore that with you. It's just going to make it easier for them to figure out what's wrong with your relationship right now. If you don't come with a lot of emotional awareness, that therapist just needs to do like a lot of digging throughout the sessions to really get at the root of your feelings, right? Because a lot of times people come in and they don't have an awareness of the way they're feeling and what's missing for them. They're just feeling angry and frustrated and annoyed, and that's all they know. So if you just go a little bit deeper before you start your therapy sessions, it's going to help your therapist. Otherwise, you have to spend a couple of sessions just for you to start to get in touch with those emotions in the beginning. But if you're the type of person that you really want to maximize your time and energy in therapy, you can do that kind of work outside of the session. If you're curious to know what the current status of your relationship is, meaning what are the current strengths of your relationship and what are some of the weaknesses or areas of growth in your relationship, I have a great relationship test right under this video. It's a free download. You can just click the link and download that test and complete it. It's just going to give you a great insight into what you need to work on in your relationship. The next thing you need to do to prepare for your couples therapy session is to come with a sense of calm. Come with the intention that you're going to remain calm in the sessions and that you're not going to be triggered into getting angry. Because the last thing you want to have in a therapy session is a shouting match between you and your partner and just a lot of defensiveness. I would encourage you to really set the intention that you're not going to interrupt them if they say something that's going to upset you. Because if you come into the session really escalated, well, that therapist can't do anything else other than just like help both of you to de-escalate. A lot of times I may do that in the session to try to help de-escalate, but that's just not the best use of time, because if you're just using your session, just getting mad at each other, interrupting each other, not letting your partner speak, then you're kind of wasting your time because you're doing the exact same thing that you're doing outside of a session. And the therapist is really not able to get at the root of the issue if they're just spending their time putting out fires during the session. Have an agreement with your partner that you're not going to interrupt each other. If they say something that you don't like, you're not going to disagree right away. You're going to try to understand things from their perspective. Give your partner space to vent, to express their feelings, and not get defensive and offended by them just expressing their feelings. The next thing is, if your therapist has an intake form before the session, please take the time to fill it out. I do have an intake form, and some couples are great at filling out the intake form. And it helps me a lot because guess what? When we're sitting together and you're talking to me, we have so much time to go through everything. But if I see what you put on your intake, I'm actually going to take the time to review that comprehensive intake before our session. And I really come prepared, already having an idea of what we need to work on. And if you don't give me this information, then you're going to spend like 2 or 3 sessions just telling me the story that you could have easily said on the intake form. That intake form easily can save you 2 sessions of therapy. And it also is going to help you have an overview of the things you want to work on. So in a way, just seeing your concerns in a paper can be really healing, because you're like, okay, these are the issues that I'm working with. This is what's missing for me. And sometimes a questionnaire asks you a lot of insightful questions about your relationship. So you come with a better understanding of where you're at in your relationship, and we can really use that in therapy session. The next thing is, if you really want to maximize your time in therapy, if your therapist says something or does something that doesn't sit right with you, maybe you feel like they've been siding more with your partner, or they don't understand you, or they don't give you enough time, please share this feedback with your therapist. Don't let it fester inside and just like come to the session feeling uncomfortable and feeling lack of connection with your therapist. Please let them know what's not working for you, because then that's going to help your therapist to really change course, modify, and address that issue. The other thing that would really help you maximize and come prepared to the therapy sessions is having realistic expectations about the process. Some couples come in and they really walk in with the idea of, okay, we really have to change my relationship in the first 1 or 2 sessions. Although my tendency is to give you something, because even in the first session, I'm still getting an impression of you. Those are not the best impressions for the therapist to have, because getting to know you takes time, and it's a process that's going to unfold through time. So don't push for that. Don't have too many expectations. I would say until the third session of the therapy, because really the first two sessions are about the therapist assessing you. While I sometimes offer some brief feedback about the impressions I'm getting, I say it very tentatively because I'm just not sure. I've just met you, and there's a lot of history to your relationship, maybe 20 years of a relationship, many things have happened that have hurt both of you. So I'm not going to jump the gun and say, here's what's wrong with your relationship. There have been times where I refer clients to another couples therapist because I can't see them for whatever reason. And they come to me and say, I didn't get anything from the sessions. It's already been 2 sessions. And what I think in that situation, it's like, well, if you say that, then you're going to stop going to the session just because you have unrealistic expectations, and you're not going to get the help that you actually need. So give yourself, 10 to 12 sessions at least for couples therapy, especially if it's not a new relationship. In couples counseling, we consider 12 to 20 sessions a good number. That is still short-term counseling. A lot of times to maintain goals, you have to come in for once a month. But, you can at least be reassured that if you've had 12 to 20 sessions, at least you're halfway through and you've got a good chunk of sessions behind you, and you need to expect some progress for sure at that point. If you're ready to invest in your relationship and you're 100% sure that you want to improve your relationship now, and you want to ensure that all the repetitive arguments you have and the fights that keep coming up are resolved, and you know how to communicate in a way that your partner understands, and you can finally start to feel closer and more supported, I would like to invite you to a women's and couples coaching program, where we will work face-to-face and one-on-one to help you improve your relationships to do these 3 things. The reality is, if you've been struggling with these challenges and you're not making headway or progress, it's because there are strategies and tools that you don't know yet. And without them, the same patterns will continue to repeat. So right now, you have 2 choices. Keep going in circles, letting the arguments take their course, and hoping things will get better on their own, or get the support from a professional expert, me, and finally work through these issues for good. This is a limited time opportunity since the program is in beta. This is the lowest price it'll ever be offered at, and once enrollment closes, the price will increase. If you've been waiting for the right time to invest in your relationship, this is it. Click the link below this video to apply now. Once you apply, I'll be in contact with you. There's only so many seats. I will let you know if you're the right fit for this program within 48 hours of your application.